What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Oleta Adams, and we're returning to the Evolution album, 1993. Thank you, as always, to Kim. And the next track is cleverly titled New York State of Mind. So yes, I feel like this is naturally likely to be the setting of the song, but it could be the setting by extension, or by memory, or by experience, meaning it might not take place in New York, it might take place somewhere else, but someone is affecting or otherwise expressing a New York state of mind, and while that could relate to the social and cultural atmosphere of New York, it could relate also, or separately, to the experiences had by the narrator or perhaps the person they're speaking to in New York, maybe both of them, given that a lot of her songs seem to be about interpersonal love and romance, even if it's not always in a perfect way or not always possible at the moment because of distance. So yeah, I would expect something like that, where there is a reference to New York even if they're not actually in New York, and maybe within the context of an interpersonal relationship. I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Oleta Adams. The track is New York State of Mind, and it's from her 1993 album Evolution.
Some folks like to get away, take a holiday from the neighborhood, hop a flight to Miami Beach or to Hollywood. But I'm taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line. I'm in a New York state of mind. I've seen all of those movie stars, fancy cars and limousines. I've been high in the Rockies or under the evergreens, but I know what I'm needing, and I don't want to waste more time. I'm in a New York state. But it's fine with me, 'cause I let it slide. I don't care if it's Chinatown or up on Riverside. I don't have any reasons, 'cause I've left them all behind. Yeah, in New York state of mind.
Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Trumpeter. So, yeah, I feel like this may actually just be about her. Now, you was referenced, but I feel like the you in the song was New York, unless I'm mistaken. But she is talking about going to all these other places and seeing all these different things. But in all those places, she's in a New York state of mind. She's got New York not only on her mind, but in her heart, in her behavior, in the way she's doing things. She starts, I think, by talking about like she could hop on a jet and go down to Miami Beach, but she's taken a Greyhound, which a bus and a jet are two very different types of travel, not only in terms of the speed and the atmosphere, but the level of economic requirement or the affluence or not between them. And then talking again about movie stars and limousines and so on, and that could certainly be New York, but I think it's maybe more commonly associated with Los Angeles, talking about being high up in the Rockies, down in the Evergreens, where there were other references too. I'm trying to think, there was one near the end that stuck out to me, and of course in the moment I'm forgetting. But it sounds like she's saying, she's been all around, she's had to travel, go these different places, but at her heart and in her mind, she's in a New York state of mind. It's sort of like a point of pride or a point of identity even. So maybe I'm misreading that. Maybe there is another person that was in New York or that she's keeping in mind as she's going these different places. But it really feels like New York is the subject. It is the you being addressed, but also the I for Oleta, if I'm reading that correctly. So yeah, and there seems to be maybe a bit of a a blue collar or working class, let me not mix my metaphors here, element to the way she's describing New York and contrasting it with these other places. It's not as scenic as the top of the Rockies. It's maybe not as glitzy as Hollywood. It's maybe not as flash and as recreational as Miami Beach, but there's something special to it. So whether it's taking a Greyhound bus and going through the 5 boroughs, or whether it's where she came from and always holding on to that no matter where she might go in her musical endeavors, it really feels like she's expressing an identity through the concept of New York. Not just the city, but like the concept of New York. So yeah, ultimately I love the stylings. It has this mellow, smooth jazz feel, but the guitar, there's a bit of bluesiness to that, as well as to the organ, but also a bit of funk with the organ. We have the piano, which is like slow and meandering, walking down the keyboard for a while. Obviously, we have the brass, some of which felt a bit big band, so it feels like there's some different sonic influences and stylings, but it all comes together for this rich and jazzy composition or composite. So a really cool tune, even if I'm not quite sure what's going on lyrically. I look forward to hearing Kim comment and any others who are familiar. But yes, basically I did a reaction to Natalie Cole earlier, and a lot of the stylings were making me think not only of Nat King Cole and a throwback style, but it's like, oh, you know what? I want to hear some Oleta. It's been a while. So thank you again to Kim for sharing and for the patience. Shout out to Oleta for a masterful tune. Do let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.